So you want to learn how to make indie pop, but you don't know how to play guitar? Maybe you suck ass at guitar, like me. But that's okay. We have ways around it. Today I'm going to show you how I produce indie pop, dream pop, indie rock, anything of that nature in FL Studio with only VSTs. For this one, I'm just going to open up a project that I already started, and we'll just kind of go over it, and I'll show you sort of what I do. So let's get right into it. Here I have a project that I started earlier today. The first thing I always start with here is this plugin, Ample Guitar Telecaster. This is probably one of my more favorite live instrument plugin emulations for a guitar. I think it just sounds really good when you add some processing on top of it. For this, I usually always turn off I'll leave the EQ most of the time. Sometimes I'll remove it. In this case, I'm going to leave it. But I'll remove the delay and the reverb here. Just turn it off. You don't really need it because we're going to be doing our own reverb and delay and effects. So I have this plugin in the mixer. I have some notes here that work well for this vibe. So I'll play it without first. I muted the master. What is wrong with me? I'll play it without the effects now. Okay. Now I'm gonna add the sauce. So now, you see it's getting closer to that vibe we're looking for. But what I like to do is actually add two of these. I layer them with the same notes, but one of them I will pitch down an octave. And I'll let you hear what that sounds like. So together with those two, we have this sound. So it's a basic little melody. I need to adjust it some, but next up on the list of what I usually add is a bass guitar. And for bass guitar, there's plenty of good emulations out there. There's Easy Bass, there's Contact Basses, but the one that I like to use is actually free with FL Studio, and it's in a plugin called Flex. If you don't know about Flex, free with FL, they have free packs you can download. Essential Bass Guitars is one of them, so go check it out. You probably already have it. Maybe you know about it. If you do, shout out to you. I like to use this Golden Eden Dynamic. For this bass line, it's just playing off of the melody. And I drew these in, chopped them, and chopping them is a great way to add that rhythmic live playing sound, especially for this type of style. All you have to do that is just draw in your notes. I drew these in like this. Pretty much all you got to do is just hit Alt U, and it'll bring up this chopper menu in the piano roll. And I'll chop it at this time multiplier. Basically just a two-step rhythm. That's how you get it chopped like that pretty easily, so you don't have to paint in each note. I used to do that, and do not do that to yourself because you don't have to. And then every other one, just bringing the velocity down so it just sounds a little more humanized, not as robotic. We gotta do the best we can with VSTs because, you know, it's the farthest thing from human playing, but we're trying to get it close. By itself, it's how it sounds raw with some shaping on the post EQ, but with the processing, I've just got some more mid-highs rolled off, a little bit boosted in the 75 range, R bass from waves, and then a little bit of distortion. And then in the mix, it sounds like this. So yeah, other than that, next, just some ear candy I kind of added in the background. You can use synths, whatever you want for this. Synths sound amazing. I chose to use a flute just because it's what I was feeling. I used the Apache Native American flute from New Nation on the Raccoon City preset. And then for this, I have a good bit of processing, as I'll show you here. So I'll play it without the processing. And then with the processing. So I'm trying to just kind of tuck it in and not have it be so present, because we want everything else to kind of we want the guitars to shine the most. On this, I just have some RC20, a little bit of wobble, tape distortion, a little bit of EQ down here, cutting the highs and some of the lows. Vintage chorus, I have this on mode number 2. This is a stock plugin in FL Studio 21. Valhalla delay, I have it on tape mode, era past, and preset is tape, the Cult. Mix on about 14. Not doing a crazy amount of delay, just enough for it to add some space and just give it that vibe. And then I just have it boosted a bit here because it was a little quiet, and I blended in a little bit, but just boosting the volume mostly with that. LFO tool on half and smooth it a little bit. And then some Valhalla Shimmer. It says Valhalla Vintage Verb down here, but it's because I swapped it out. Name just didn't update for whatever reason, but mix knob is on 21, reverb mode, big stereo, you get the drift. And that in context with the rest of the sounds so far sounds like this. Just adding a little bit. Next, I have Xenology, and we're going to be just adding some basic synth chords. In this case, I believe it was an organ preset that I used. Some form of one anyways. Just doing some basic stuff here. This one, without the processing, sounds like this. Very basic chords, nothing crazy. It's just really supporting the rest of it. Now, with the processing, it sounds like this. Obviously, way more fitting now, you know. First plugin, this is a secret plugin. I got early access to it from the homies at Cymatics. Shout out Steven, the rest of the gang. Crystals from Eventide. Crystals gives it a very cool sound. I'll play it without it. Just adds that little bit of in the background. In the full mix, it definitely sounds super fitting. But vintage chorus again. Chorus is gonna be over everything in this pretty much when it comes to the melody. So Valhalla vintage verb this time. A little bit of stereo separation. Paying your sounds, by the way, I forgot to mention that. Use these stereo separators to just pan certain elements, so everything's not like bunched together in the middle of the stereo field. I like to mix as I go and just make sure you're leveling your sounds as you go as well. Something I should have mentioned earlier, my bad. All together, those sound like this. Sounds pretty cool so far. Next element, I wanted to add a little bit more sauce with some more guitar. I chose to use the Ample Slide Lap Steel. Very cool plugin. It's a sliding guitar. Yeah, what that's doing is pretty basic, nothing crazy. And I have this same preset. It's a preset that I created just to kind of fit the vibe of this type of music. It's a Guitar Rig 6. On the retro indie pop setting, I have fuzz and screamer turned off, and this is on all the guitars, as I showed earlier. But this is a preset, as you can see here, and I will include this in the description below. Free download. Drag it into your FL, have some fun, whether you're using real guitars, VST guitars. It sounds great on either one. Even sounds good on just like keys if you're using like one shots or anything like that. Synths, it give you a really cool sound. Link in the description, so go grab it, have fun. This sounds like this raw. sounds like this. So that's that little catchy top line that a lot of these songs will have. Like if you listen to someone like The Cure, you'll hear a lot of stuff like that that just gets stuck in your head. Very important to add little memorable pieces like that in your music. Now let's get to the drums. You gotta have the right drums. I have a basic drum pattern and I like to use addictive drums too. It just has so many good kits in here and everything else. I'm using the indie. They have an indie pack. I'm using the fat and tight one. Yeah, addictive drums, you dog for that name. Anyways, sorry. No, I'm not. But yeah, fat and tight. I'll show you the processing on this one as well. This is stock, how it sounds. A little bit of shaping on post EQ here, but that's kind of what we're working with. With the processing, it sounds like this. This is a lot more full. I'll show you how I achieve that. Also, we'll be including the drum preset in the description below. They're both in there. So drums, guitars, enjoy it. RC20, first off, tape distortion, and then a little bit of a EQ cut on the high. I roll the highs off some and a little bit of the lows, tiny bit of the lows. That's all I'm doing there. A little additional EQ, boosting the kick here, and then boosting some of the snare up here, cutting the mud in between both so they can kind of do their own thing. The biggest sauce of all when it comes to this is Diablo by Cymatics. Shout Cymatics again. My boys. Great plugin. If you don't have this one, pretty sure it's on sale a lot of the time, so go grab it. Very fire for drums, especially drums like VSTs like this, because normally they'll be a bit weak sounding. And this is kind of like that extra sauce you need to really push the body of it. Like I'll play it without Diablo first. This sounds pretty good. With Diablo, much more present, a lot more flavor. Like that's what this body knob is really doing. It's just adding more thickness to those drums. So go check out Diablo. That's all I can say. Fresh Air, this is pushing a little bit more high end, high mids. Listen to it without it. Listen to it with. You can hear it most in the snare. It's just pushing that up a little bit. Just a little bit more high end on the snare, giving it some shine. And then a little bit of Valhalla room reverb just to add 7%, you know, maybe nothing too crazy. Next, I just added a little open hat action. Those together sound like this, and that's running through the same processing as my main drums. Volume's tucked a good bit on it though. And then a tambourine loop from Kashmir. Shout out to Kashmir, super fire. We'll hear tambourines a ton in indie music in general. So if you're looking for fire tambourine stuff, Kashmir has a bunch of cool shit. Go check them out. That's pretty much everything on my master. If you're getting an artist on something like this, really soft clippers all you need, unless they want to come back later and you know, get stems from you. Then, you know, you can do whatever you want. But soft clipper, that's usually what I just have on, so it's not clipping. Yeah, let's play it from the top. Let's hear what we got. So yeah, only other thing I left out was this extra rhythm guitar here. And that's just following the bass line. It's up an octave. right? For that, I'm actually using Flex again, Essential Guitars. The Bright Humbucker. There's a lot of cool ones in here. If you add some processing to them, they can sound really cool. I like the Bright Humbucker. That's why I chose, and I'm running it through that same preset that I use on the main guitar. Just tucked it some, EQ'd it so it boosting the high end a bit more, and yeah. So that's my process for creating this type of sound in the box with no live instruments. If you're not amazing at guitar, it's a great way around it just to get creative and vibe out and make some shit. I hope this video helped you. If it did, drop a like below and comment. It would mean a lot to me. I really appreciate it. And grab those downloads and play with them. Let me know how they work for you, and just have some fun, make some good music. And yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.